And we have to really recognize the designers, the engineers of the 1912 era. It's amazing when you're in the opera hall and when you're on the stage, you don't need an amplifier, you do not need a sound system. The acoustics are just wonderful in this particular facility. And we have different gatherings. We had in our centennial year in 2008, we had an RCMP Centennial Ball here. And again, a lot of performances occur at this particular site. Well, we've been working very hard. Sask Heritage has been very supportive. A year ago, we worked on the dome. What we have to do now is things like access is a prime concern. We have to probably put in a sprinkler system to preserve, to make sure that this building is around for as long as possible. The bricks need attention, the front steps and so on. So our city council has put money aside in our budget to sort of attend to these issues. Now, in 2013, this building will be 100 years old. So we want to dress up our city hall for that occasion. And again, I think it's a great legacy for our community to have a facility like this in Melville. But there's something wonderful about this particular building, and I'm very glad that our community has one eye to the future, but certainly has one eye to the past and respects the past. And again, probably one of the things that I should mention is we have a family here, the Dixons, and they just add to the character of our city hall by keeping the grounds in such good shape. That's our Mr. Dixon now. And again, he lays out all these flowers, and this happens on a regular basis, an annual basis, and we are so pleased with our grounds. Mr. Dixon looks after City Hall, and he looks after our grounds, and he does such a terrific job now. He and his wife attend to our needs, and again, when you look at City Hall, it's a great historical building, but the grounds certainly add to this, and we are very fortunate to have Mr. Dixon with us and his wife in looking after our plants and our lawns and so on. It's a great contribution they do to our community. Last year in our 2008 centennial, we had a garden party, a tea party here, and it was so pleasant as we're enjoying the summer sun today. On occasion this happens, and again, it's sort of the center of our city, and we just had a great time here. Now there's another historical building, and we have a clock there that's, I can't go back as to say just how old it is, but it'll chime on the hour. And this was a project of one of their schools. They had a fundraising drive committee, and their plan was to restore the clock, which they did. And I believe it was Mr. Randy Albers was very instrumental in taking on this project, and that's been occurring for about 15 to 20 years. Prior to that, that clock was not functioning, and again, they saw this as a historic building, and they said, let's see what we can do. And it's just beautiful to hear. Every hour on the hour, the chimes will ring, and it's wonderful.
My name is Michael Hotsko. I'm the city manager for the city of Melville. I've been working in Melville here for the last about 5 years now, and I've worked in City Hall, and I'm really actually quite impressed with the building. It's an old building, a unique building, heritage property for the city. The work that we've done to the building over the last number of years, we actually recovered the dome, and it has actually increased the, we had some problems with water, seepage and that type of thing, but it has now, that problem has been eliminated. Our next work we intend to do is to repoint the brickwork on here and do some work on the parapets on the top of the building, and that's all to conserve the building and keep it in its heritage state. And then after that, there's other plans from local groups here as well who have done or want to do a considerable amount of work on restoring the building to its original grandeur, I guess you could say. We've been working with that group on a continuous basis. They have their plans for what they would like to see happen to the building, and like I say, we always want to work with them to ensure that we restore that building and keep it around. It's a beautiful building. We don't want to see it deteriorate. We want to see it continue on for years to come, and for everybody to enjoy it.
Melville is named after Charles Melville Hayes. his middle name serves as our namesake. When he was approached in this regard as to would he allow his name to be used for naming this particular community in 1906, he agreed, but he wanted an edifice built that would sort of recognize his position. And he was the president of the Grand Trunk Railway, which is now the CN. Charles Melville Hayes, his wife, his daughter, son-in-law, and his 2 grandchildren were invited to England, and they had the opportunity of sailing across from England on its maiden voyage from England to New York. Unfortunately, this maiden voyage was on board the Titanic. Mr. Hayes died on the Titanic, as did his son-in-law. His wife and his daughter and his 2 grandchildren survived. On that occasion in 1912, some 1,500 people died aboard the Titanic, and I believe 700 survived. So again, when we look at the history that's associated with this community, we are tied to Charles Melville Hayes, and a lot of difficult historical events have occurred in this community. I always talk about the fact every person, every community has its story. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of Melville. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as we've watched another episode of Yes, Gargoyles Do Live in Saskatchewan. My name is Audrey Price, and I'm the Provincial Coordinator for the Architectural Heritage Society of Saskatchewan. I want to tell you a few things about us, about what we do to help keep our built heritage for our future generations. We're a nonprofit society supported by SaskCulture and Saskatchewan Lotteries, whose main focus is to be the catalyst for education and preservation of Saskatchewan's built heritage. We do this by offering membership in the Society to individuals and various organizations across Saskatchewan. We publish the Heritage Quarterly magazine, which highlights stories about Saskatchewan people and their efforts to preserve our built heritage. Members are encouraged to contribute articles and receive the publication as a benefit of their membership. We provide financial incentives to members through grants for the express purpose of keeping our built heritage for future generations. This series is also a part of that process of sharing with Saskatchewan people all the wonderful stories and the places those stories happened in.
Thanks for watching another episode of Yes, Gargoyles Do Live in Saskatchewan.